Welcome to Up to the Minute. I'm Todd Duplantis, and it is a Wednesday morning on the show. I know it doesn't feel like a Wednesday. That's because we had Monday off. So the whole week's been thrown off. And then to top things off, tomorrow and Friday, we're not doing a show. So it's just a strange week going on. Sharday Campbell's joining me from her home this morning. Sharday, does it feel like a Wednesday to you?
It does not. And I didn't know we weren't having a show on Thursday and Friday. That's up to the minute news for me.
Yeah, it's up to the minute news for you. We have no show tomorrow and Friday because we've got a special assignment we're working on. Our studio will be taken up. So that's happening. So no show tomorrow, or Friday. So we've got somewhat of a longer weekend here. But either way, nonetheless, we're on today, and we welcome all of you watching us on Facebook Live and YouTube. We've got a couple of great guests coming your way. But you can also check us out in social media, Sharday, and they can watch us on HCCTV as well.
That is correct. You can catch us at noon, 5 and 10 p.m. Monday through Friday, and follow us on HCC District social media channels for the playbacks.
That's right. Okay, we're on at noon, 5 and 10 HCCTV. So make sure you tune in there. Okay. Sharday, stick around. You'll be interviewing this next guest. He's on the show quite often. Jef Rouner is joining us again. He's the Houston Press contributor with video games and pop culture. Good to see you, Jef.
Hey, Todd. Hey, Sharday. Good to see you again.
Good to have you with us. Looking forward to getting caught up in the gaming world. I know we're all excited about that. So stick around. I'll be with you in about 10 minutes.
All right.
All right, we're going to kick things off. Welcoming back to the show, one of our favorite guests. She's on here a lot. In fact, this morning, Dr. Graham, you were saying that we're bringing you back on again because you were joking around that we don't have anyone else to interview. We do. We're just excited to get you back on the show. And first off, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thanks for having me back again.
Because you are now the Dean of HCC's Liberal Arts and Humanities and Education. First off, how does it feel to have the title permanently? I know having that interim, you're working hard because you still do all the duties, but now you've got the actual title. That must be comforting and certainly fulfilling too.
It's a relief because when you're in an interim role, it's like, how much can I do?
Yeah.
Because someone else may come in and decide, oh, I want to go a totally different route. And then all of your work is just, for naught. So yeah, it's a relief to know that all the work that we've been doing the past 9 months in this interim role has not gone to, it's good. It's going.
Well, congratulations once again. You had a post, I believe we saw something in the district's Facebook page about one of your former student success stories. Tell us a bit about Corey Glover. I know I met him a few years ago. I think he was on this SGA. And tell us what he's up to now.
He's an amazing young man. From what I remember about him, he of course, the liberal arts education helped with his career. But his mindset as well, as far as I remember, he always acted the role that he wants to be in. He dressed the part. His mindset, he was steady. He was stalwart. He came in. He knew what he wanted to do and he got it done. I never heard a single excuse from this young man. He just did what he had to do and he got it done. And he portrayed from the first day that I met him, the role that he wanted to assume. So I thought he was already in it. Like, what are you doing in this class, right? But that's just who he is. He's an incredible young man.
He certainly is. And we do have one of his student success stories. So look forward in our social media. Moving on about your department itself, what do you mean when you talk about in defense of liberal education?
Oh, you can look at follow the money trail. Follow the money trail when you go on campuses. Take a look at the buildings. And you will see that the money leads to like the STEM fields, which is very important. Science, technology, engineering, math. Those fields get a lot of money, not just from colleges and universities, but from the communities as well. And you can look at the buildings on campus and you can tell which ones are the STEM buildings and which ones are the liberal arts buildings. But in defense of a liberal education, a liberal arts education, and there's actually a book written about that. I love the STEM fields. I actually started off as a comp sci major. We were talking about VR and Oculus, and every time I play that game, I'm like, dang it, I should have stayed in computer science. But I am grateful for my liberal arts background. Our STEM fields, unlike liberal arts, our STEM fields will prepare students for a specific job or specific jobs. A liberal arts education prepares students for any job because the skills that they learn there are transferable skills. Those are those soft skills that industry personnel that they want. And many of our students lack. When I left the engineering field, I worked at Texas Instruments for many years. And the site manager asked me, where are you going? I said, I'm going to teach. What are you going to teach? I'm going to teach English. And his words were, tell your students to learn how to communicate.
Yeah.
Because they have these brilliant minds, absolutely brilliant minds, but communication gets kind of lost there. Not only that, but with the liberal arts education, you learn about people and their cultures, what makes them tick. And I was in the legal field for quite a while, and just understanding people and their cultures and where they came from, why they believe what they believe, their values, why they dress the way they dress, why they eat what they eat. You can learn all of that and about people with the liberal arts education.
Well, especially in the city of Houston, being that we're so culturally diverse and have people from all over the world moving here, it's important to learn more about other cultures. Do you think here in Houston, we appreciate that more because of our diversity?
I really do. I really do. I've met others, and I have friends in other places that are not as diverse as Houston. And when they come here, they love it. They don't love the humidity in the summertime, but they love the diversity that we have here in Houston. So yeah, I do. I do think we do appreciate that a lot more here in Houston.
Tell us about the liberal arts program at HCC and what you hope to bring to it.
So in our liberal arts program, we have philosophy, humanities, we have the library sciences, we have history, we have world languages. All of those areas will help an individual become more well-rounded, to think more creatively, to think more analytically, to express themselves better. And if I'm bumbling up here, don't take that as something against the liberal arts program, okay? But all of those things, a creative mindset is so needed. Liberal arts majors are more flexible, I think, to change than those who are not. Just because we've been accustomed to it throughout our entire academic careers. And so I hope to bring that, the value of a liberal arts education more to the forefront here at HCC.
I know you're also very active in the community, and do you try to get that message across to your students that, it's one thing to study, to get a job, to be productive there, but you also have to be active in your community?
Absolutely. Being active in the community, it's just, you meet so many people, your network expands, for one, and then being active in the community, and especially here in Houston, not only do you learn about diversity in the classrooms, but you actually experience it here in Houston in real life, which is ever so important. And across the country right now, there's a restorative justice movement that's going on. Individuals, organizations are working to right wrongs that have occurred in the past. And there are people from all walks of life who are helping in this restorative justice movement. And to just understand that and to work side by side with these people, you can learn about the theory in the classroom, but when you actually step outside of these doors and go into the Houston community, you actually have an opportunity to practice, to put into practice what you've learned.
And tell us about the collaborative community initiative you participate in for something called the Freedom Tree.
Oh, the Freedom Tree. It's here in Fort Bend County. Actually, it's about a block away from where I live. The Palmer Plantation is where the Freedom Tree is. So the slaves, it's a beautiful tree. And I hope you guys get a chance to see it sometimes. But when the slaves here in Texas learned that they were free, the overseer brought them to the Freedom Tree to let them know, hey, you're free, albeit 2 years later, but that's where they gathered to learn about their freedom. And the branches just remind me, it's a reflection of of freedom, actually, because the branches spread out so large. I wish you guys have an opportunity to see it. But the tree, the area there and the park is being revitalized by the city of Missouri City. And so I got a call from an employee from the city of Missouri City just yesterday and said, hey, I read about your work with the Sugarland 95. We have a project going with the Freedom Tree, and we want to identify those who are enslaved there and possible descendants and hear their stories. Do you think you can help us out? And I'm like, of course. And of course, I thought about our students here at HCC, would really like to get them involved in here and during the research on this land and the people and helping to tell their stories.
Incredible. Dr. Helen Graham, she is now the Dean of HCC's Liberal Arts, Humanities and Education. We appreciate you joining us on the show. We'll have some links in our post after the show is over, and our social media posts where people can learn all about humanities. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Take care, Dr. Graham.
Bye-bye.
All right, we're going to turn things over to Sharday, and you've got a special guest going to be talking a little bit video gaming, Sharday.
Yes, thanks, Todd and Helen. Making a bit of a shift in the topic, but a great one nonetheless. Bringing on Jef Rouner, Houston Press video games and pop culture contributor. Welcome back to the show, Jef.
Hey, Sharday. That's real fun following Dr. Graham there. She has some very high ideas. I'll be coming in a bit. I'll be taking the low road, as it were.
You said that, I did not. But I think this is an interesting topic. So summer is upon us, and we're happy to talk to you about what games are being released. So let's start with the, excuse my pronunciation, the query? The query? Quarry, there we go.
All right, well, we're real excited about the Quarry. About 2015, Supermassive Games, which used to be known for very, very small games, really broke the mold with an interactive horror film game called Until Dawn, which was all about being trapped on a mountain and there's wendigos. And what really made that game special was that every single player character could die. Depending on how well you played the game, it meant that, everyone could make it to the end or nobody could make it to the end. In Scream, when they sit there and say, it's like, oh, these are the rules for a horror film. And if you followed them, you'd be just fine. Well, they finally got a chance for everybody to put that knowledge to the test. And many, many people turned out to not be as smart as they thought they were. And we're really excited about the Quarry. Number one, I'm personally excited because David Arquette is in it. And I don't know if you can see this over my right shoulder here, but I've got a poster from David Arquette's Ronald Reagan-inspired axe murder film, The Tripper, right over my shoulder here. Absolutely love him in horror. Obviously, he's legendary in Scream. He did a lot of mocap work. I've interviewed him recently for it, and he just said it was an absolutely great time. This is your typical setup. You've got, kids who end up trying to spend the night in a quarry, and there's angry locals and some monsters, and you'll just have to run and chase. So I'm really excited to see how they've evolved. The company has spent the last couple of years putting out fairly mediocre horror games with not very good writing and honestly kind of forgettable mechanics. So it's time to see if they can rebuild on the legacy that they started.
I got a little bit of your bio. You are a connoisseur and a critic of these games. You gave full scope, no holds barred. Like, listen, they had some work to do, so you're excited about what is up next.
Hey, I get critics on my work too. So I've had people say way worse mean things about me. So, but I do love these games, and I am eagerly waiting to play the Quarry.
Awesome. Let's talk about Xenoblade Chronicles. Xenoblade. My goodness.
Yes, that's all right, so we're talking Xenoblade Chronicles. We're on to the third game, technically the fourth, depending on how you count this stuff. And I started getting these games when they first came out in 2007. Nintendo sent me the first game, and I honestly hated it. I could not stand it the first time I played it. It was too big. It was too complicated. I come from a very old school role-playing game background, the original Final Fantasies and Super Nintendo, that sort of thing. But once I finally got into this giant open world and this action role-playing game style, I realized that these are the natural inheritors of games like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest. I think that these are honestly the best JRPGs, Japanese role-playing games, that are on the market right now. They're really interesting because they're mostly based on the idea that there are these giant creatures that are so large they form continents and people live on them. And you have to run around doing various quests and fighting various evils. It's extremely complicated. I couldn't explain the plot to you if my own life was the prize, okay? But it's a lot of fun. They're super beautiful, and the gameplay is just entrancing. It is one of those things that you can sit there and fight the same monster for hours and never get bored. So I'm really looking forward to the third game. They're absolutely beautiful. And I'd honestly say that they're doing way better than the classic series are at the moment.
Thank you. Well, what about Eyes in the Dark game?
Eyes in the Dark. All right. The reason I'm excited about this one is because 2 years ago, Hades came out, and Hades was the best roguelike that anybody had made. A roguelike, for people who don't know a lot about video games, is a game where the levels are procedurally generated. That means they're random each time. So you never know exactly what you're going to get. And you tend to lose a lot of the things you accrue as you play. Like, you get a certain sword or something, it's over, and you have to restart the game with a new one. It's about dying a whole lot, but it's also about slowly leveling up over a long time. And Hades just blew the whole genre out of the water. It was the first video game to ever win a Hugo Award for writing. So it was a World Fantasy Award for writing, it was that level. And everybody's looking for the new one. And I think that honestly, Eyes in the Dark, Curious Case of Victoria Bloom is going to be that. It's about a little girl who's investigating this giant black and white haunted mansion. Everything is very stark. There's no grays or anything. It's all black and white. And all she has is a flashlight. And every room changes as you go through it. And she has to eliminate the dark. And along the way, she reveals the truth behind her very weird Victorian Gothic family. So it's going to have that same thing that Hades had, where the more you play it, the more you start to learn about what's going on. And if the writing is up to snuff, if the writing can get that same level of depth where people feel like they're getting more out of it as they play it, I think it can honestly be the next gigantic title. I also really like the fact that, in light of a lot of things that have happened lately, anytime a game uses non-violent means to eliminate enemies, I think it's a good step in the right direction. I love shooters. I have played so much BioShock. I love to gun down monsters, but it's really cute to see other ways we can address the concept of obstacle elimination in the game. And shining a flashlight at Ghost, I think is a neat place to go. It's also just beautiful. I mean, it's one of the most gorgeous games I've seen put out this year. It's very stark, very, very animated. As we get closer to photorealism, is more and more, I just talked about The Quarry, where it looks like David Arquette is in the game, but it's still an animated medium. And I think when people lean into it with stuff like Hades or Hollow Knight or Legend of Zelda, then you see other ways something could be moving. So those are things I'm excited about with that.
I love that you brought up the intentionality around writing. I don't think a lot of people realize how much goes into the writing of the narrative, the writing of the logic that's associated with games. So, and you're definitely right. At a time such as this, it is great to hear an alternative for gaming in obstacle elimination that is not violent. So thank you for sharing that. Well, finally, let's talk about Lord of the Rings next game.
I'm going to be honest with you. I have not seen a single positive article about this game. It's Lord of the Rings, Gollum. And it takes place between The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. If you are a big Tolkien nerd, as I am, then you know that at this point, Gollum leaves the Misty Mountains. He goes to Mordor for a while. He gets captured for a while. He starts worshiping a giant spider god for a while. There's a lot going on. And this game is a stealth game. You are this little sneak who can sneak up behind people and throttle them, but you can't fight. There's no swords or anything like that. And they really lean into the fact that Gollum has this split personality, this, side that's still kind of Hobbit-like, where he's very positive, and this other side that's tainted by the ring and is very negative. And Supposedly, this is going to play into some sort of morality system. I mean, they can't change the story that much. It is a prequel to The Lord of the Rings. We all know what happens to Gollum eventually. So it does sound like a slightly unimaginative game. I will give you that. But I love stealth games. I love Thief, even the remake that came out back in 2015 or 2013. It's one of my favorite games. And I think that this has some potential. It's going to be a lot of crawling around caves. It's going to be a lot of sneaking around. But it really looks a lot like the PlayStation 2 Hobbit game that they made, which is a very underrated gem. And it involved a lot of sneaking around, a lot of not swinging swords, not a lot of, you've seen that stuff before. I don't think we need another game where Aragorn stabs people. I mean, that has been made. So even though most people seem kind of down on this game, I think it really deserves a chance because it's taking the media, the media license in a new place that it hasn't quite gone before. So I think everybody should give that one a chance.
Hey, Jef, I've got a question for you. There's been over the last couple of days, there's been a lot of press about Facebook's metaverse game and the fact that people are getting attacked. Their avatars are getting attacked in these games. Have you heard anything on this? Have you seen anything on this? What are your thoughts?
I've seen a little bit about it, and all I can say is it's not really anything new. I mean, if you go back to when Fortnite first came out, there were a lot of reports about kids getting bullied in school because they had the default skins. Yeah. It's like, your parents are too poor. They can't afford the battle pass. So, I mean, it's not a new thing. Frankly, it's proof that in the gaming space, we need more moderation. We need serious moderation. And this is a place where we need to put some effort into, because I think, number one, it's driving people away from the game space. And of course, the people it mostly drives away are marginalized people, are women, are people of color, or LGBT people, are disabled gamers who may not be able to get good as the rest of people. And when it comes to avatars, it's the same people. I mean, I've seen so many slurs and words clearly designed to be slurs, which are not slurs yet. Yep. So it's an unfortunate thing. And I wish gaming in general and the metaverse in specific would invest more in moderation.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I hadn't really heard much of it until I started seeing these articles in the last couple of days. So it's certainly not the press. They say any press is good press, but I don't know about this type of press. Jef, we appreciate you being on the show once again. Thanks for joining us and bringing us up to date.
Yeah, it's good to see y'all again. Good to see you, Sharday.
Hey, and Jef, I do have one question. I know we're wrapping now, but I can't let it go without you giving a tip to our digital gaming and simulation program students. Since you create so much content around this, can you offer one tip about opportunities in the industry?
About opportunities in the industry, when you're looking for a job, try to find any company that is renowned for not doing crunch, for not like making everybody work 30-hour days, near the end of a launch title. People like I mentioned, Hades, Supergiant Games, very famous for that. So try to investigate before you get involved, because once you are stuck in a cycle with an abusive company, it is very, very hard to get out. I hope all that's changing, but stand up for yourself and take a class on worker rights, because it will be important.
That's a good point.
That is. Thank you so much, Jef. We'll have your info posted after the show.
Thanks, Jef. All right, Sharday, some good points there at the end. All right, we've got some things we want to cover. HCC and Verizon have teamed up for STEM summer camps. That's right. HCC's Entrepreneurial Initiatives Division is teaming up with Verizon to launch 2 STEM summer camps to empower middle schoolers with next-gen technology. June 13th through July 1st at HCC Southeast College, that's one of them, and July 11th to July 29th at Houston Baptist University. If you'd like to register for either one of those STEM summer camps, check them out. We'll have a link in our social media post after the show. And there's district-wide STEM camps going on as well, Sharday.
Yes, as a part of our HCC's community learning program and Texas A&M's partnership is hosting a STEM summer camp to promote our new Katy campus. We'll be highlighting coming up June 27th through July 1st, our Drone Swift camp at our Stafford campus, as well as our virtual reality Swift camp July 18th through the 22nd at our North Forest campus. Links will be posted after the show.
And more things happening this summer. Summer audio workshops with HCC's David Sharma. You'll be learning how to create beats, sampling, remixing, and using Ableton's live session and arrangement views. These are in-person audio workshops, noon to 4 p.m. Saturdays, July the 9th, 16th, 23rd, and 30th. It's at HCC's brand new audio recording studio at our North Forest campus. We'll have a link to register in the post after the show. And the Media Arts Student Showcase, those are happening on YouTube through August the 15th. If you want to check out the students' projects, we'll give you a link on how to do that. And tomorrow, Sade, you didn't know this, but we're not going to be on the air.
Yes, apparently you all are working on a special important project as HCC was named as Lumina Foundation's grant finalist for a $1 million competition. So you all are creating some content around that.
That's right. We will not be on the air tomorrow or Friday. We'll be back on Monday. And one thing you don't want to forget, I know this is very special to Sade because she tracks them every day. Registration is underway right now for the summer and the fall. There's still 5 ways to learn. And Sade, you're asking folks to register early to get the class you want.
Yes, register early for the fall to get the class you want and to know that there's still time to enroll in the summer session that is starting on Monday.
Yep. And you can go to hccs.edu/apply. 2 summer sessions. Is that how it's working?
I believe it's don't let me count it. Don't let me tell a story.
We got a few of them.
Say multiple.
multiple. Good answer. All right. But you can get all that information by going to hccs.edu/apply. The first summer session, we do know, starts June 6th. Okay. Mental Health Monday around the corner. Next Monday, a return of Dr. K, elite performance coach and psychotherapist, and another student success story involving one of our international students. Sade, we'll see you again next week, right?
Yes, I will be here.
All right. Thanks for joining us. We'll see all of you on Monday. We're off the next couple of days. Have a great week.